Cops are leaving because of what's going on here. There's witch hunts left, right and centre. Cops don't feel safe.
Once officers are under investigation, whether it's proven or not proven, that stigma will never go away. What bad officers that I've seen within 23 years, there was one, he was caught for corruption, stealing something out of the car. They're the type of people we need to get rid of.
There is a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise on social media, and we've got a platform now with around 21,000 cops. It's become more than an app and more of like a soundboard for cops. So when they can't speak up like they can't now, we are their voice.
They need people like us because they can't speak out themselves. They're silenced.
Probably from chief inspector upwards, you start losing touch with the front line. You start losing touch with reality and kind of forget what's actually going on the front line.
When we're arresting police officers when we shouldn't and abusing Code G and stuff like that, what that does to officers' mental health is appalling.
We need to put in place realistic solutions. It would be a career for life if they were treated better by the job, if they weren't just a number. Laura, welcome for the second time to the Pocket Sergeant podcast.
Thanks, matey. Do you know what? I feel like I've made it.
A lot of people will be wondering who've listened already, why is she on again? What are we talking about this time? But actually, it's a really important issue, and it's something where there's been some developments in the last couple of days. So I thought it'd be worth us jumping on, having a chat about police welfare, really. There's been a lot of noise at the moment around police officer welfare, professional standards investigations. We're seeing a lot of cops being investigated for something, only for the phones to be trawled through and something completely unrelated to be found. Anybody's phone who you go through, you're going to find something somewhere and marry it up with a code of ethics and then gone, or gross misconduct. It could be a gift forwarded in a group chat, throwaway comment, message that you've not challenged. Suddenly it's gross misconduct and cops are going to work scared, aren't they?
Yeah. We're laughing, aren't we, Paul? But actually it is a real serious issue, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's serious. But it's also comical, the fact that it's been able to go this far. And I mean, we've even seen there's been officers recently that have taken their own lives as a result of either being investigated or things that have been going on in the job. There'll be a lot more not even mentioned in the press. And the noise is growing, and I think we're finally being heard. I think you're aware anyway, Andy Marsh from the college reached out and has been in touch asking me to attend a meeting with him and Andy Rhodes from Oscar Kilo. And I think from the very early discussions that I've had with Sir Andy is that he shares some of the same concerns as we've been raising, which is a positive. And then I've also spoken to a local MP as well about the issue, and he's writing to the policing minister. But you've also been doing work on this as well, haven't you?
I have, yes. And like you say, there is so much talk at the moment, and it is really high on the priority list, is that some work needs to be done, doesn't it? So what myself and my husband have done is done a freedom of information request, or what he's done, because he's very clever with this type of stuff, it's not my bag, for looking at kind of PSD investigations, IOPC investigations, how long they're taking, why they're taking so long.
Is that is that every force?
43 forces and the IOPC.
So if they all have to be submitted individually?
Yeah.
Wow.
And of course you can't email them, you have to go onto the website and do a request. It's all, So they've all been sent off, and part of the request within the FOI is about suicides and whether they're recording them. Are they linked with a PSD investigation or IOPC or that type of thing? So obviously, as we know, they've got statutory time limits and stuff like that. So it will be interesting to see what kind of comes back, because as we know and I may be jumping ahead here, but it's absolutely devastating for the whole of the police across the UK as to what officers are having to resort to. And you know my story anyway, to get to that point where the job makes you take your own life. It's not, am I allowed to swear?
No.
Not fucking acceptable, Paul.
No. So why do you think we're seeing such inconsistencies across the board? And why do we feel like PSDs are going on fishing expeditions?
Why is it? Is it the fact that it's been driven from higher up? I was only speaking to somebody yesterday about fishing expeditions and parameters that people are supposed to adhere to and stuff like that, and stuff being found that not even in the parameters and this, that and the other. I don't know, Paul. Do you know?
No, I was asked the same question by my MP. He said, "Oh, what do you think's causing this? Where do you think this has come from?" And I just reeled off a load of things that could possibly be the issue. Is it that police forces are trying to cut the budgets, get rid of cops, even at the budgets? No idea. Is it to do with the murder of Sarah Everard? So they've gone from one end of the scale to the other. Yeah. I honestly don't know. Is it come from government? Is it come from IOPC, Home Office? I have absolutely no idea. But it's not great. It's not healthy. Cops are really scared to go in and do the work. They're scared to get hands on people. They're scared to search people. They're scared to even message people. Yeah. It's just... And
can you imagine the impact that has on their mental health, Paul, of not being able to be themselves, and they pick up their phone, and I can't imagine what that would feel like. It would feel like you're just being... I don't know. I can't even find the right words.
Is it been...
Controlled?
Suppressed? Yeah, controlled,
suppressed, that's the word. Suppressed. Yeah, suppressed. You kind of just... Yeah. Oh...
You've got to be able to send a message, you send a joke, whatever, live your normal life privately. I'm not talking about disgusting messages, disgusting pictures that have been sent previously by cops of corpses and things like that. I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to jokes, gifs, things like that. Anything that can be potentially misconstrued.
I think you're right in making that good point there, Paul, in the fact that we're talking about the bad officers. Yes, they need to get out and we need to weed them out. But there are good people that are literally trying to cope with life in policing and sending messages or memes or whatever it is, having a laugh that is not offensive, that people are losing their jobs over, and they're just being controlled. And it's a horrific way for them to live.
What are your thoughts on the Code of Ethics? The reason I ask is I think the Code of Ethics was one of the great things that was actually brought in by the College of Policing to maintain standards. But actually, what I think has happened over time is that Code of Ethics is being weaponised against cops at any available opportunity, being completely misused. This isn't what it was brought in for. It was to weed out.
Not what it was designed for.
It was here to maintain standards. Yeah. And weed out the bad eggs. But actually what we're doing, we're getting rid of the good cops here. Yeah.
Yeah. If you look back, I mean, I was thinking about this earlier as I was driving back from somewhere, and I was thinking about what bad officers that I've seen within 23 years. And there was one, and he was caught for corruption, stealing something out of a suspect's car. And he was cut, and they obviously knew it was happening. They'd rigged it up and everything else, and clearly he was an absolute bad person and he should never have got into the job. They're the type of people we need to get rid of, but not your everyday people just trying to survive.
But I don't know whether you've seen this as well. You may not have, but I've seen examples of cops almost becoming trapped because there's one cop in particular who's told me their story. They were arrested. I think the investigation, still 14, 16 months on, it's not progressed. Their mental health is in tatters. They described it as almost like a guillotine above their head. Mm. They don't believe they've done anything wrong. But then what's happened next is they've then been sick of this. They've got sick of this. They're sick of feeling so low. They're still under this investigation. They can't move on. They're not getting any response from the OIC. So they thought, right, I'll just leave. I'll find another job. I'll just leave. If you're not going to support me, if you're not going to conclude this investigation, I'll just leave. Okay. So they apply for a job. They're offered the job. Then they hand in their notice to the force. And then they receive something from the employer, the new employer, to say, your force has told us that you've resigned whilst you're under investigation. So they've pulled the job offer, and then the cop was unable to withdraw their resignation. The force wouldn't let them. So now that cop, who's been investigated for nearly 18 months, is without a job. Mental health in absolute tatters.
Yeah.
But it's absolutely bonkers. I mean, that's just one example. There are many, many others. But you've got to think about...
It's heartbreaking, isn't it?
What these drawn-out investigations are likely doing to cops mentally. I know my experience in the job, I was investigated once for alleged misconduct. And mentally, that was crippling me. I knew I didn't do anything wrong, but it's just that thought of, PSD have served you these papers, what they're going to do next, what they're going to go digging for next, who's watching me.
Yeah. But here's another thing, Paul, and I think you talked about it recently on another podcast, is that once officers are under investigation and they're tarred with a brush, whether it's proven or not proven is the case that I'm talking about, is that stigma, that whatever it is, will never go away. And that officer and their family have to live with that for life. So just because it's not proven, like I think it was Joanne that said, no smoke without fire, you're always judged on that. Yeah. You know, and when we're arresting police officers, I mean, do we even want to get started there? When we're arresting police officers when we shouldn't, and abusing Code G and stuff like that, what that does to officers' mental health is appalling.
Do you think forces get safeguarding right when it comes to investigating cops?
Absolutely. And that's part of the FOI. Because what safeguarding is there? Yeah?
Yeah, because certainly when I was investigated just for misconduct, there was nothing. I got served papers and I was just pretty much told to deal with it. So those that have been served papers for gross misconduct, I can imagine if you think that you're going to lose your job, potentially.
Well, how is there not a duty of care? I don't know. We'll find out, won't we, if and when anything comes back on the FOIs.
Yeah, and that leads me on to, do you think professional standards departments even understand the psychological impact of what they're doing to people?
I think it's easy to make a sweeping statement with PSD, and we probably both know people that work in PSD, and I know that there are some good officers that are trying to look after the good officers. I know that for a fact. So without making a sweeping statement, however, the SLT of PSD, and certainly maybe some other officers and staff within there, maybe have got a different agenda. I don't know. But I think some of them are aware, but their hands are tied. You know, somebody had commented earlier on, lack of resources in PSD. Is that true? I don't know. Yeah. Has that got a contributing factor? I don't know. I don't think it's a contributing factor in the IOPC.
No.
I don't think that's any excuse.
If you had the power to change something within professional standards tomorrow, where do you think you'd start?
I'd put Ben Pearson in charge, because I've listened to his podcast, and I think the guy talks a lot of sense. That's what I'd do. Put Ben up there. That you got the nice people. You've got the did he call them the shits?
Shitbags, he refers to them as, you could say, bad people.
Shitbags and
good people, and your shitbags. Yeah, or your bad people.
How would you overhaul it? Do you know?
This is what the discussion's going to have to be about, isn't it? How do we make the process more fair? So certainly introducing deadlines for investigations. Mm-hmm. There'll be spurious allegations made left, right and centre. There'll be genuine allegations made also.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But we must have deadlines, and there must be much tighter deadlines so cops are not suffering for prolonged periods. Investigations need to take place. But also what I would say, another thing I would stop them doing is looking for other things. Or if they're saying that we're not looking for other things, we're just coming across it. stop looking for other things. You are looking for
You
other
don't
things.
come across things, do you?
No, you don't.
No, they're looking. And there should be, and I don't know whether this is the case, Paul, I don't know, and it'd be interesting to get some feedback on this, and it might be the case, PSD across the whole of the forces should surely have the same level of investigation, the same standards and the same policy, surely.
And also abide by the code of ethics, the same code of ethics
Yes.
that are being thrown at your frontline cops. Going looking for other things that are not part of the investigation does not, that just does not fit in with the code of ethics.
And who investigates PSD?
Great question. And that could be something else that if you were to take over tomorrow, if Ben Pearson was to take over tomorrow,
Yeah,
have somebody above PSD making them accountable.
interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, so something else I wanted to speak to you about was, I think Andy Rhodes is going to be at this meeting with Sir Andy Marsh next week, and he heads up the Oscar Kilo. I had a look on the Oscar Kilo website early on, and it looks as if they're about to introduce some sort of mental health helpline for cops.
Okay.
So that's interesting in itself. But my question would be to him, it's going to be that question. My question to him next week is this just going to be another helpline, or do we actually fix the root cause of the problem and not just treat the symptom?
Well, there's a few things here in terms of a helpline. Is one, are officers going to feel like they can trust the organisation that is hosting it?
Because it is affiliated with College of Policing.
And we know that, from conversations that we have with people, that is a barrier, isn't it, of the trust?
Yeah.
Which is very sad, but it is a barrier, and is it going to work like you say? I think that's just a sticky plaster. It's great, don't get me wrong, if a helpline's available and somebody rings it, bloody brilliant. If it helps that person, that's fabulous. However, as you and I have spoken before, it's about, okay, let's create a culture where we're preventing this from the very beginning. Okay, why do we even have to teach people who work within police forces of how to treat one another? Why do we have to teach them this? Just be a nice human being and treat someone as you'd want to be treated if you were in their position.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
What do you think of this idea, by the way, going back slightly to what we would do with professional standards tomorrow or whatever's going on at the moment in the world of policing? What I would do and what I would propose, either a national inquiry to investigate why this is happening. Somebody somewhere is going to get to the bottom of it. Or even easier, have somebody somewhere, whether it be the college or home office, create some sort of task force, do an audit of every single misconduct and gross misconduct investigation in every single police force, and you take a look at it and you find out whether it's right and whether it's consistent. Because I can guarantee you start going through what is actually going on in these forces and you compare to other forces. Some will do it better than others, I've no doubt.
Of course they will, yeah.
Some PSDs will do things better than others. Some SLTs will be better than others. But I can guarantee there'll be a whole load of gross misconduct jobs that should just be binned.
Binned at source.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, Paul, is that I think, I know, there's no thinking about it, I know that some jobs are recommended to be binned and they're not.
Yeah, well, actually, one example is I was approached by somebody and they said, for example, they've been receiving inappropriate messages from a colleague of a pornographic nature from an officer of rank. A complaint was made, no further action.
What?
Yeah, no further action. And I've been approached by another cop who was investigated and he's been threatened with put before a gross misconduct hearing because of a throwaway, bordering misogynistic comment in a group chat or something. It just doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense.
That is just ludicrous, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Flipping out. Wow.
So there's a lot going on at the moment, and I think we've chatted a little bit outside the podcast since the first one, and there is a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise on social media. There's a lot of tagging people, a lot of tagging organisations and things like that. And I know I've been approached about working with other organisations, some that have already attempted dialogue with the College of Policing. But from my perspective, and I've told them exactly the same, that I think at the moment, Pocket Sergeant is not affiliated with anybody.
Yeah.
We're not affiliated with a college. We're not affiliated with any police forces or charities or other organisations.
And that is really important, Paul. Really important for people to know that.
Yeah, and we've got a platform now with around 21,000 cops, and we've built this reputation probably for the last 12, 13 years. It's become more than an app. It's now more of a community and more of like a soundboard for cops. So when they can't speak up like they can't now, we are their voice, essentially.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
and that's what they need, isn't it? They need people like us, and like there's other good people doing lots of good work. They need that because they can't speak out themselves, so they're silenced, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think the thing with this is we need to put in place. We need to suggest realistic solutions.
Yeah.
So, for example, I've seen petitions and things along the lines of let's hold forces responsible for corporate manslaughter and things like this. And whilst I understand the anger, if we're going to start proposing things like that to the college and to police forces, they're not going to get on board with that. And it's not going to fix the problem. The problem needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
A different way.
The thing is that it's people's lives, isn't it? And, you know, we've had this chat before, haven't we? Of, you know, it's all right moaning and looking back and slating this and slating that. And there's no doubt that forces get it wrong. Clearly, there's no doubt we're not saying that. However, we need to come up with solutions of, okay, how are we going to make it better for the people that are still serving whilst we've still got them before it all goes to rat shit. I heard a stat yesterday, see whether you knew this stat, that 75% of police officers in this one force, 75% frontline duties have less than 3 years service.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me.
Really?
I had a conversation with somebody earlier, and we talked about the cops and the new cops coming through, and I spoke to somebody else that's due to come on the podcast soon, and he said like the new cops cops are leaving because of what's going on here. The short staffed. There's witch hunts left, right, and centre. Cops don't feel safe. The stress to the hilt. The welfare needs are not being met. So they're thinking, what is the point? What's the point in me staying here? Yeah, I'll find another job. So now you've got new ones coming through. But something that someone said to me the other day was cops that are coming through now are no longer looking at it as a job for life either. Yeah. So they're looking at it as a job for the next 3-5 years. Develop some new skills and then use those skills and apply it to a new job or a new role. Yeah. And that's really worrying.
Not a career for life anymore, is it?
And that's really worrying. I think it would be a career for life if they were treated better, if they were treated better by the job, if they were valued by the job, if they weren't just a number.
But you know what? Part of me thinks, Paul, I really wish that I would have got promoted to, and I know a couple of people who are of a good rank who care about people, but genuinely I wish that I'd been promoted so I could look after people. Yeah. Because they need good gaffers looking after them. That's all I need. You know, we've spoke about it before, haven't we? Don't need a phone call, record it on the system. No, they actually need somebody to care about them.
Yeah.
Like they care about the public.
It doesn't seem like rocket science to me. And I think one of the issues as well could be, I'm not saying they're all the same by any means, but there are a lot of ranks, chief inspector and above. Once you start getting to a certain rank, you're looking up. You're looking for your next promotion. You're looking for your next roles up there, the bigger pensions and things. And I think probably from chief inspector upwards, you start losing touch. You start losing touch with the front line. You start losing touch with reality, and instead become absorbed. Probably not their fault, but they start becoming absorbed in the whole SLT
politics of it all.
Yeah, and politics, and kind of forget what's actually going on the front line. Yeah,
I think you're probably right in the main. I'm sure there's a good,
I'm not
handful
saying all
or
of them,
whatever.
but from experience,
a
lot that I know of, a lot that I've worked for, that certainly has been the case.
Very sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there's another problem in terms of going through the ranks within the jobs of doing your 2 years on the beat or whatever it is, and working your way up, is that some people are coming in, they're fast tracked and everything else, and they quickly forget they haven't spent that time on the streets, have they? And that's another thing, isn't it?
Yeah. I think that the purpose of this podcast today was really just to let people know that because I was speaking to you yesterday, wasn't I? And I was like, we need to get on a podcast and just tell people, look,
we care.
Yeah, we do care. We might not be in the job anymore, but we are still heavily linked to the job, not organisations, the job. We care about people. And as far as I'm concerned,
we care about the nice people, don't we?
Yeah. The police family.
Yeah.
And I think a plan going forward, certainly when you start receiving your results from your Freedom of Information requests, when I've got something to say in regards to the meetings with Sir Andy and Andy Rhodes, we'll get back on and we'll talk again. But again, I've said to you away from the podcast as well, I don't want, if we're able to get in front of people of power and influence, what I don't want to do is then talk about every single thing that was mentioned in the meeting, because I don't want politicians' answers. I want them to be straight. I want to go in there, be straight with them. To be honest, I've been thinking, like, certainly the last 24 hours, whether Sir Andy realises what he's let himself in for here.
Well, I was just going to say that, a bit of straight talking. You might get kicked off the meeting, mate.
Yeah. No, I think it'd be good. It'd be good as gold. Looking forward to it. But I think we meet up again probably in 2-3 weeks' time. Let people know what's going on. If there's any other developments, then great.
Yeah, and to be fair, what I did mean to mention to you is a couple of people have inboxed me because I shared your post just saying about your meeting and stuff. So I'll forward those on. I meant to say that to you.
Oh, no, that'd be great. And so to finish off then, thanks again for joining. And if there's one message that you give every officer currently under investigation, what would it be?
If they're good officers under investigation, because I'm not interested in the officers that have really done wrong. They can piss off, they can get locked up, whatever else. If they're bad, they need to get out. The good officers that have done maybe a stupid mistake or absolute nonsense, for them, I have to say, and this is really important, having been there myself, that it will pass. You can't see it when you're in it. In a year, 2 years seems like the hell, doesn't it? But it will pass. Things will change because they have to change. And, my inbox is always open. Your inbox is always open.
Absolutely. If you're on LinkedIn, then you can follow or connect with Laura Loy, connect with myself, Paul Cooper. Send an email to Pocket Sergeant. We're on X, Facebook. We're on the Pocket Sergeant account on LinkedIn as well. But yeah, you're right. Inboxes are always open for anyone.
For the nice people.
For the nice people. The nice
The nice
cops.
bobbies. Yeah.
Yes. What do you want those at the top to hear loud and clear about what we've talked about today?
That they need to be a decent human being. They need to care for people because it's their force. If only they could understand, if you look after your employees, guess what? They'll do a better job. If you prevent them as much as we can surrounding mental health, and we ensure that we can put in coping strategies and this, that and the other, guess what? You're not going to have 14,000 bloody police officers off sick, in a year.
Yeah.
Come on, let's just be nice human beings and care. What is wrong with you?
Great message. What is wrong with you?
Is that great? What is wrong with you?
Sort it out. Sort it out. Make some brave decisions. And let's just...
grow some balls. Can I say that?
Oh,
no?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, grow some balls.
Grow some balls or some boobs or whatever. I'd probably get a sack for that.
Yeah.
Funny enough, I've just been on another call with, as you know, with the IODPA, but that's a different subject. And somebody said something, and I said to my husband, God, if they're in the job now, they get the sack for that.
Yeah. Oh, dear.
Joking,
yeah,
but
okay.
seriously, Paul, the message to the officers that are struggling is that inboxes are open and you're not alone. I'm an advocate at Samaritans, as you know. There are people out there. It won't always feel like this. I've been there. It does get better.
That's great. Right. Thanks, Laura, for joining me. And we'll see you
buddy.
next time, probably in a few weeks' time.
Colour coordination again?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Matchy.
Matchy. Apart from you haven't got your glasses on.
Oh, no, hang on.
Get your glasses on. Let's see if we match.
Yeah, we match now.
Oh, yeah, we match a bit better now, mate.
Yeah. Okay, let's cut it now. We'll cut it. Right. See you next time.